Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of GnWC Weekly. I'm the Duke. I'm joined by my good buddy
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, like McFoley Santa Claus, or like
No, the one Alberto Del Rio ran over. I guess that's
or like
McFoley.
Goldberg Santa Claus.
What the hell's a Goldberg Santa Claus?
Santa's sleigh. It was like the rated R murderer movie he did where he was Santa.
Oh, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it happened.
I only know of Universal Soldier.
Oh, okay.
And that's mostly because of a Megadeth video.
But that's actually Angry Larry. I'm the Duke, and we're going to get into this quick because not like last week, but still sort of like last week. There's a lot to talk about. So
there is, but we're gonna
it.
It's up to everyone else to watch the shows and get their recap on who won, who lost kind of thing. We're gonna actually take it a little bit different direction this week, and we're gonna talk about the highs and lows of the event and what we're looking forward to, what we're not looking forward to going forward, and maybe some winners and losers, who we felt looked like a star, who we felt maybe got exposed a little bit or was not put in a good situation, so to speak, for the inevitable future. Let's really quick. It appears that Eva Marie may no longer be with the WWE.
Huh.
And the one thing I didn't check is I didn't check the website to see if they removed any information from her, but I doubt they would until Total Divas is over this season, because I think she's still on that, and it's going to deal with her suspension anyway.
Right.
She was the only superstar, and I didn't see, this is how I saw it written, the only superstar not to receive an invite for WrestleMania. Only active superstar. I mean, I guess that means Paige received an invite as well. And there's nothing showing me that maybe she wasn't there backstage. But I find it highly doubtful that she was. But
she's still on the website in the superstars listing for what it's worth.
Okay. She's actually removed all information of WWE from her social media stuff.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And Simon Gotch was finally let go.
Yep.
And according to reports, it's coming out that he was extremely unpleasant to work with, had a mouth to him, got into arguments and altercations pretty much at every show. And
he was also just it wasn't just about his attitude. It was like he just sucked in the ring too. Like that's where there were other I don't know, just there were rumblings that there were more injuries than just the Enzo one that could be connected to him. So
I can't even say that the Enzo one is connected to him. He was just involved.
Yeah,
in
I think that was both. Yeah, that was.
I think that's people. Enzo. Just he's hyper than Mojo, and
fair enough.
And just really got in. But maybe he just did it too close to the ropes. Blah blah blah. He could have some fault in it.
Yeah,
too.
I think it was on both of them. But it was controllable by Enzo,
right.
And he's typically pretty out of control. So.
The good news stemming from this is that Aiden English may not be guilty of being a bad wrestler by association, and they might actually do something with Aiden English.
Yeah.
So let's hope that, because Aiden English is pretty good.
Maybe,
bring back
maybe
the
even
singing.
A little push. Yeah.
Bring back the singing.
Yeah, bring back the singing gimmick, and maybe we could even get Cass in a in a sing-off with him at some point, which could be fun for audiences.
Different shows, but the Superstar Shake-Up thing coming along. And if you want to go musically, there's still always Elias Sampson out there. And by the way, his spot on NXT was fantastic.
Unbelievably good.
Oh,
so
God.
good.
And it just...
I love him. I love him.
It took 2 weeks. It took him losing the Loser Leaves Town match, and then him doing the Bo Dallas, again, continuing what Bo Dallas did 4 years ago in NXT, coming back under the mask and being no different. He came out with the guitar and everything.
Yeah. And even said, "What it needs is what I am" at the end of his song. It's just like...
And Orny Lorcan got booed out of the building because he was not Elias Sampson.
Right.
What I mean? It's like, oh, we cheer superstars we normally boo. Shut up with that. Fans cheering.
Yeah, stop saying that.
Who they like and who they don't like. I didn't have a problem with them saying it on Raw, Corey Graves saying it on Raw. Maybe it's a situation where the right person said it and then the wrong person said it again. I had no problem with Corey Graves saying it on Raw because it's kind of true. And then Layfield said it on SmackDown, and I'm just like, shut up.
Well, nobody really wants to hear anything from JBL this week, that's for sure, after a lot of the other things that have come down.
Yeah,
but we don't have to talk about that.
So. No, I mean, it hits close to home for me, so I kind of like talking about that. But,
I got you.
he's denied it, and he's expressed concern for Morrow as well. But there was one more thing. I think we've cleaned up the Jack Swagger situation. I think that he's been let go a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I have officially mentioned that, but if anybody doesn't know, Jack Swagger is going to let go. But we'll talk more about shakeups.
He is officially let go now? I didn't realize that.
No, he was officially let go like 2 weeks after he said he was let go, and then WWE denied it. He was officially let go. He is no longer.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago.
I missed that.
Yeah, I think that was the week you were away.
Oh, yeah. You're right. That's exactly when that was.
All right, well, let's start a takeover. We'll do some little winners and losers here. And as I'm looking at the lineup, let me tell you what I didn't like first. And
okay.
This is not really too much of a surprise, but
this is Larry getting angry.
No, not really. It's just it's unfortunate circumstance of the nature of the business and the business model in general. The losers of TakeOver are more likely to get graduated to the main roster, kind of thing. So anytime you see somebody lose in a match, and there's rumors they're going to join the show or they've been around for a while, join the big show. I mean, not it's the big show, but the main roster. I just feel like there's a predictable, guaranteed inevitability in it, and it kind of sucks.
Well, you say that, but then we predict that people are going up for so long, and
right?
They never
but there's
do.
the other side of my point.
Okay.
When it doesn't happen that way, you get a little bit out of it as well because you're expecting it to go that way.
Sure.
So now it's like I'm going to punch you in the face, but I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I got you.
You know you're going to get punched in the face, and now you're expecting it every time you see me.
Right. And so it's like this looming cloud.
Right.
And then when it finally happens, then, it doesn't necessarily have the, whatever. Yeah. That's sort of
that's
a bad
all you're
analogy.
thinking about is this guy's going to punch me in the face. This guy's going to punch me in the face. And that's all you ever think about now when you watch these shows is, wow, I wonder if Nakamura loses here, he's done. Oh, if Ty Dillinger loses here, he's done. If Asuka loses here, she's done. And it happens and it doesn't happen. But it's always on your mind.
I get you. And we'll get to it, later on, obviously, later in the show. But I think the shakeup is going to screw around with that a little bit, which could heavy emphasis on could be a really good thing. But,
all right, if you know anything regarding NXT in that standpoint, bring it up when we bring up that section because I'm actually in the dark regarding.
I don't fully know.
Okay,
but I've just heard things.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Okay.
But do I want to go with something I didn't like?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or a low point?
You can go low point.
I did not like. What was the main thing that
no title changes?
That stood out to me. Yeah. Yes. And I don't mind titles not changing, but this is kind of like, it's WrestleMania weekend, and there's no real changing of the guard. And again, this could connect to the superstar shakeup stuff too. So I don't know. But there's so much we don't know about what's going to happen with that and how or if NXT is going to be involved in that it just keeps looming. It's the punch you in the face thing. It's like it's hanging over my head. Is what I'm saying going to be invalidated or justified by the shakeup thing? They did the new titles, which they all look good, and
thank you, Brad.
Yeah, God, you had to do it, didn't you? But I intentionally didn't say it. But
that's what That's why you have a co-host.
Yeah. Well, you're the host. I'm just the intro guy. But intro outro guy. But I like the new titles. I didn't like that you just put them on the same people. It's just like what's going on?
It's like the Charlotte Flair thing from WrestleMania last year.
Yeah, exactly. So here we this is our new title trade program, and you just show up and you walk out with a different title. You're still the champ.
Yeah, it's a title exchange.
But can I hit on my high point though?
Yeah, go ahead. Let me give you one little bit of information here first, if I may.
Yeah, go.
And I have to double check this because it doesn't feel like it's right. Yeah, it is right. The last time NXT did a takeover event that had no title changes, NXT Takeover London in December of 2015.
Yeah, and see, I get it. You're overseas, so you don't necessarily like. To me, there's a reason to not change a title when you're like not on home turf necessarily, because whatever. But I don't know.
And the one before that was NXT Takeover Respect at Full Sail, and that did not have a
That's
title
Full
change
Sail.
either. But
Yeah.
that had the Bayley Sasha Iron Woman match, and every other match on the card was virtually a Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament match. So
Yeah,
there was
true.
only one
Right.
match. So, but go ahead,
Yeah,
hit on a good point.
Yeah. So the good point was, and is this sort of our winners and losers?
Yeah, winners and losers is kind of like who. Yeah, sure.
If it's in this too, I thought the tag match was maybe one of the most unbelievable matches I've ever seen, and how it was such an amazing swan song for the Revival. Like it was, I got emotional during that match when they started doing the shared spots with DIY.
That was hair raising on the arm. Honestly.
I mean, I got really like I said, my wife, she's just in the room while I'm watching wrestling as usual, and I'm like, this is, I started getting choked up and almost embarrassed because my wife's gonna see me cry at wrestling because the story that was told in that match, and just and how Nigel called it perfectly too when the turn happened where they finally, like, Revival realizes, all right, we've got to work together, but then Nigel calls it so perfectly that Scott made a mistake to go back on that, to give up on that when he pushed Gargano in the ring instead of staying on the Authors of Pain when everybody was down. And that was like, and that was the transition point of the match. And the match kind of got a little weak after that. The ending was a little bit weak, but it worked. But other than the ending being a little weak and almost a little discombobulated, which has kind of been a theme for Authors of Pain, they need to work on finishing stronger. But it's
I think ever since they hurt that guy, they've been held back a little bit on their finishing.
That's fair.
Aggressive,
that's fair.
Yeah.
But it's it's not just that though. It's kind of that they just sort of stand around and wait for the finish.
Oh yeah.
It's not just how aggressive they are in the finish, because their finish, Super Collider, still looks good. The last chapter still looks good. It's just it's kind of like they're waiting for someone to get in position. Yeah, like you've said that about I think Nikki Bella one time. You're kind of just waiting from spot to spot.
Well, all she used to do was throw her hands
like
up in the air and kind of mannerisms in between spots instead of wrestling things. And
right, and you kind of feel that way, especially with endings for them right now. So
they're waiting for the guys to be fed to them instead of going out and getting the guy.
Yeah, and which part of that's just instinct. You develop that over time, and they're super green, and they're doing great to be as green as they are. And I love it. But anyway, that match seriously got me emotional, and I think Ember Moon also looked really, really good, and it was a great. I thought it was interesting to have an actual heel finish in the ladies match. So we didn't have a title change, but we did get our shenanigans spot. We did. And in probably the most unexpected place on the card, in my opinion.
I actually would have been better with that match, honestly, if it ended in DQ and Asuka retained the championship. Because remember, they used to do that all the time.
Sure.
And I guess Owens did it when he was champion.
That's part of Champion's Advantage.
Yeah, so. Champion's Advantage with the quote-unquote heel. And Asuka's certainly been playing that role, but they don't really have dividing lines anymore, even though we do it for talking points. But
sure.
And some of them, obviously some of them are on one side than the other. I would have been perfectly fine if she did that and risked disqualification and got disqualified just to keep the championship. That would have been some heat.
Oh, yeah.
And that would have been good because...
Yeah, it's one of those things, though. Like, I've talked about this before. There's heel heat and then there's company heat. And it's one of those things where who gets the heat at that point? Yeah, Asuka gets a little bit of it, but... the ref gets a lot of it, and the and then it's just like, oh god, NXT, they're just becoming WWE light now, and it's just like, I think that's what.
But
yeah, I think that's exactly. Like I agree with you. I agree with you. I just think we're in a climate now that people would crap on the company for that, and it would just be the typical, PR heat.
Yeah. Otherwise, don't push the referee. Don't have that involved at all if you want to do anything.
Yeah.
It just, it's one of those things like it happened. Well, why aren't we calling for the bell? Oh, because it's a title match? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess
so. No, I get you.
But that's your Triple H kind of no hold barred rules, from last week when you were talking about one of the matches on WrestleMania.
Yeah, and it was the story where, like, as we got closer and closer, and every time I heard more and more, they just kept, of course, for weeks they've been hammering the eclipse, and it finally hit me. I'm like, oh, this is Omega Okada. That's what they're building to. This is Ember Moon can't get her finisher off. Somehow, some way, she won't get the finisher off, and that would have been the difference in the match. And Omega Okada was had he landed one winged angel, that was it. It was over, and he never landed it. So that was the story they told.
Well, I mean, isn't that every match though that teases one person's finish and they wind up losing?
Not well. Yeah, but that doesn't happen that often where people just keep selling a finish, where they're not talking about all the other crazy cool stuff that someone does. They're just talking about their finish, and they even, do something in another match to sell it really, really hard. So I don't know.
They definitely went above and beyond selling the dangerous nature of her issue with Billie Kay and stuff like that. Right. I don't really have necessarily like a thumbs up part of this show.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because you know what? I don't think anything here overwhelmed me. I mean, it would have been nice to see Team Ty overcome, Sanity, but then Sanity wins and Ty goes. So, hey, heels won a feud, I guess.
I thought it was weird at the end of that match. Someone still talking about the numbers game. It's just like the numbers were even.
The numbers were even, yeah, exactly.
It's like I think it was actually Tom who said it. And it just, and I almost feel like it almost sounded like he paused a little bit as he was saying it, like he realized I'm saying something dumb, but he had to finish the sentence.
Yeah, we've already announced that there's probably a new Sanity member, and I actually jumped the gun. Good job, Tom. No, but we don't know that's going to be the case. I felt Black and Almas was very flat.
It seemed too long. I mean, I like Almas, but it seemed too long.
It didn't flow. There wasn't chemistry. I think Black, or I can't say who did it, but they just weren't connecting on moves or selling me on anything that was dangerous or realistic for a while in that match and in the beginning. I think it was a couple misses as well, but that they sold the miss, clear miss, and sold it.
Yeah, I liked it, but I get what you're saying.
And then the no title changes, no shenanigans. Asuka pushing the ref was fine, but then I have to question, why was that not disqualification? And Rude Nakamura was nice and clean, but then Nakamura is selling the leg injury and stuff like that. Well, the best part of the night was, and I didn't hate the event. I just felt like overwhelmingly there was no real positive things stemming from it. Two things that I really did like is I liked when all three teams were in the tag team match and when they did the shared moves.
Yeah.
Like you said, you got emotional. I got hair standing up because it was just so cool to see those bitter rivals joining forces and stuff like that. I get really invested.
It was like a comic. And I told my wife, I said, this is a comic book story. This is when I nerded out really bad, and said it's like when there's the good guys, the clear good guys, the clear bad guys, but then there's this big bad that shows up, and you get that team up of the good guys and bad guys that you've always wanted, but it just never made sense, but now it does. That was the story I got from that match, and I loved it. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I was a big fan of when hockey series ends and they do the handshake lineup thing. Seeing bitter rivals, guys fighting each other for 7 straight games, shaking hands, hugging each other. I kind of like that too when there's that respect angle in wrestling, And that's where it kind of was. It was that respect angle, like, hey, but also bitter enemies need the bond together to take down the overpowering team. And then I don't know, it really worked well. It was really cool how it just came about. It just flowed naturally. It was, from the kicks to then the Shatter Machine. It was really good. But overall, I'd give Takeover like a C plus.
Okay.
I mean,
that's fair.
The other thing. I'm sorry. The other thing was Drew McIntyre.
That was interesting. That was surprising.
I love that. I love that when they just.
And I love that they even interviewed him, and he's already in the mix. This isn't like he was just there, and we got to wonder for weeks. It sounds like he's going to hit the ground running. So
yeah, when you have the dignitaries in the crowd, that's kind of all right. But then when it's the Bobby Roodes or it's the, Asuka or Kana Ibushi, even like when it was Apollo Crews and Billy Kay and all them with the graduating class. Like, it's just cool when it's stuff like that, and it's cool when it's Edge and Beth Phoenix or whatever. But then when they try to cram all the alumni in there, and Ric Flair's.
Especially Ric Flair is the most egregious time where the crowd was totally taken out of the beginning of a match because Flair was coming into the ring.
There were a few times that night as well during Takeover where the crowd was preoccupied with something else.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even tell you what it was.
And I don't think I know. I don't think it was Beach Ball Mania. Oh, and that was part of the Almas Black match, wasn't it?
They were all
they were all like screaming at something.
I don't know if it was a couple fans trying to do a chant and everyone was trying to shut them up, or if fans trying to, like, a whole section trying to get over and the rest of the crowd of smart marks trying to drown them out. I don't know if there was an altercation or something.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. It seemed like people bowing up to each other and everybody was trying to cheer on the real fight.
Right. And I thought Angle was being ushered to a seat to be shown front row, because I could have sworn the crowd was chanting "You suck" at one time. But they weren't saying it to the wrestlers in the ring, I believe. It seemed like they were saying it somewhere else. That's why I thought maybe it was Angle. Maybe we're going to see Angle after this match sitting ringside like he's enjoying the event. You know what I mean? But whatever.
Yeah.
That was kind of it. I felt like Aleister Black, if we talk about winners and losers, kind of fell flat. And otherwise, I really don't think there was a clear winner in terms of, like, stock profile raised.
Something really went up. Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
But I just feel like Black didn't make an impressive debut on me, and then everything else was, like, kind of as expected, but whatever.
I mean, to me, Ember Moon showed that she's at Asuka's level. She's close.
Okay. That's fair enough.
And then she has the personality and promo ability that Asuka just will never have. Well, maybe not personality, because Asuka has crazy personality. And
she's been in Seattle for half her life.
My gosh. That drains you of personality. But she has personality and she has tons of charisma. But she's never going to have the promo ability that Ember Moon will have. So anyway.
No, okay, I'll agree with that. Ember Moon, stock up.
Sure.
Let's talk about WrestleMania here real quick. And again, everyone can go match by match on their own with their own friends. I'm sure everyone has a talking point about this. But if we want to talk about, like, clear-cut winners and losers, or things that happened that we enjoyed and happened that didn't enjoy, according to my list here, Baron Corbin won the Andre Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and the League of Nations defeated the New Day. And what a job WWE.com did linking to the results of this friggin' their own pay-per-view.
That's last year.
I know, exactly. But easily I can change the 2 in 32 to 33, and I can get to the right page.
In the URL?
I'm going to talk I'm going to talk losers here in the sense of unfortunate situations. Neville Austin Aries kind of lost because that match was, like, really early and really good.
It was the first match.
And it was really good.
I think they really drew in the crowd. I mean, and I would suspect, and I mean, how it's playing out seems to prove this. I would suspect that Vince realizes Austin Aries and Neville are like what they can actually put, that, like, these guys can actually put the cruiserweight division on their back and go and, like, push it forward. Because, I mean, how many people, period, have someone chanting their name on the roster? Just how many people, period, that you can think of?
I mean, unless it's preceded, suck comes after it or FU comes before it. Maybe AJ Styles.
Yeah. So AJ Styles and Austin Aries.
Yeah.
That's it. And Austin Aries is, your challenger at WrestleMania, and he's going to be your next challenger as well for the title, for the Cruiserweight title. So that's definitely a bright spot for the Cruiserweights. So, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, they were in the everybody coming to their seat slot. So.
Right. And I don't like the celebrity play. First of all, here we go. Here's a down point on the night. Where were the legends and where were the celebrities? One of the only things we got was Gronkowski on the pre-show for the USA audience to make Mojo Rawley win the Battle Royal. One, I don't want to see Mojo Rawley win a Battle Royal, but that's personal interest aside. I can't get into the guy. I don't like him. I don't know. Two, Gronkowski. I guess he's one of the best football players in the world. But it was on the pre-show, and that's our only in a night that's the night of all nights. Where were any of the legends that came out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Where were any of the we got HBK, Booker T, Lita, and Jerry Lawler on the pre-show. Well, we have that pretty much almost all the time anyway. And then we had Jim Ross was a nice added surprise and touch, and condolences to him. And
yeah, that was shocking, but I get it. That's a long time in the making.
And this is embarrassing as a fan of Oklahoma football. When I heard his music, when I heard Boomer Sooner, first thing that came to my mind was Sergeant Slaughter. I'm like, all right, here we go. And then it was Jim Ross. I'm like, oh crap! Why the hell did I not recognize that music?
Where did I?
Because it sounded like military.
I get what you're saying. I can totally understand where your mind went. Yeah.
Yeah. So between Neville and Aries having a bad spot and a commercial between the match on the network that promoted WrestleMania during that commercial spot, and there are other things to nitpick here and there, but I feel like those were kind of like the worst of the worst for me. And I don't know about you. And results aside, let's say aside,
I didn't have a lot of problems with results either. But down points. I gotta say a down point for me is the crowd, and start booing me now. The crowd with Roman Reigns. I mean, we said it going in, and it's exactly what happened. Reigns carried Undertaker through the whole match.
Had to.
And yeah, absolutely had to. I mean,
he worked his ass off.
The story wasn't just Undertaker running out of gas. Undertaker has run out of gas. Which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's his age. He's had a 6-year career, and he works one to 3 times a year now. I mean, apparently he's done. But man, I just don't get. Just get over it. Get over yourselves. Stop trying to get yourselves over. Hey, look, we're booing this guy. I'm just really, 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 really super over it, and to the point that I was cracking up on Monday Night Raw when he worked the crap out of that crowd.
Oh, that was a worked segment. I mean, they knew what was going to happen, and that's why they started that show like that.
And he pulled it off like a champ. So
right, just stand out there, make a motion that you're going to speak every once in a while, and then just drop a one-liner.
Let them boo again. Yeah, literally 15 minutes of letting people boo him. And anyway, but I digress. That was a low point for me. I'm just tired of. I'm generally tired of crowds trying to hijack shows, and that was like
I'm not, because at least it was relevant to the wrestler in the ring, and they weren't chanting CM Punk or JBL
or Beach Ball Mania
or Beach Ball Mania. Yeah, but that's situational. That was one time, and
sure.
I guess the Beach Ball got confiscated, and they went nuts.
Yeah, but anyway, I get what you're saying, and that's actually a valid point. But I still, I don't know. I'm not a Reigns fanboy, but I like the guy, and he totally, like, at some point, you got to realize it's not just the other guys in the match every freaking time.
If he goes the way that he should go after that beatdown of the Undertaker, and this is my yard, and becomes that cocky, arrogant, you guys don't like me, screw you, I don't like you either, kind of, and I don't like anybody else person. I would say like that match worked. Otherwise, put me in that crowd, let me boo him, because it's just more of WWE's like, this is our guy. We don't care. We're gonna have him beat the Undertaker. He's going to be in line to fight Lesnar, and deal with it.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you offline about something I heard today that makes me think, maybe just maybe, but yeah, it's one of those keep holding out hope thing. By the way, in that image that you have, it looks like he's holding lightning. It's pretty hilarious. But
oh yeah, look at that. The title, it's like the flipped over title on the side.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was my big.
Oh, that's not a title. That's just a firework in the background.
Yeah, it's firework.
Yeah, it's funny. You said lightning. In my optical illusion, it's like, oh, it's just the title sideways. So he doesn't have a title.
Oh yeah, so. I get you. See, you're already seeing him with a title.
Dude, I don't even know if I pulled a picture back from last year because of WWE's website right now. I'm questioning everything in my life right now.
No, that's definitely this year.
Yeah, no, I see the ramp.
Yeah, but he's but yeah, I that was my big downer. Just the crowd in general, like being just, and I get it. It's way too long a show. Oh, that's my other down. It's too long. It's too long. You call it WrestleMania weekend. Let's split it into 2 days. How about that? How about we have 3 hours on one day? You do this because other wrestling promotions pull this off, and if other small wrestling promotions can do weekend-long events, why can't the freaking biggest wrestling promotion in the world do it?
You double the gate.
You call it WrestleMania weekend,
and you double the gate.
Yeah, you call it WrestleMania weekend. Make it WrestleMania weekend. Give people 3 hours on Saturday night and 3 hours on Sunday night. Boom. Do it. Just do it. Like, just split it. Split it. Stop with the 6 hour show. It's stupid.
I didn't mind it. It actually flowed for me because it was enjoyable.
I don't mind it at home. The problem is the crowd just gets so flat, and the only
that's
thing
why
they
you have Roman Reigns win at the end, so they're all electrically loud.
Exactly, and the only thing they have energy for at the end is to boo Roman. Yep. That's it. That's all they have. And so everyone leaves, somewhat unhappy, even though you had the Undertaker thing, which kind of shifted people's mindset a little bit. But anyway,
well, of course they have to dig the distraction off of Roman Reigns because he's their guy. So have Undertaker put everything down in the ring, and then now the fans have a different mindset. Just like you have Roman Reigns come in at 30, and you have Orton win the match. Well, without Roman Reigns there, fans are pissed off that Orton won again. And it's the same guys all the time, but whatever. I'm going to hit you with a good right here.
Go.
Hit you with a good. The freaking Hardys.
Unbelievable. And you called it. You called it.
It wasn't really hard to call.
I mean, calling them at WrestleMania and winning the titles, though, that's a big deal. Like, I can't imagine anyone saying, "Oh yeah, the Hardys are going to show up and they're going to walk out with the titles."
Was saying it, but
well, I wasn't, because I'm staying away from all the scuttlebutt. I can't stand it anymore. It ticks me off knowing things beforehand.
As soon as the New Day's music played, like, I instantly knew it was going to be the Hardys. And pretty much 80,000 people knew it as well, because all they did was chant delete, and no one bought the fact that it was going to be the New Day coming to the ring. So it was
Brandon did. Brandon wasn't sure. So that's me, by the way. Duke. Yeah.
So it was pretty good, pretty cool. The only downside to that is I don't think we're getting broken Hardy.
Not yet, but but it's better if he gets broken on WWE TV,
But I liked his tweet that explained it. And it was like the energy of the crowd cured him. So I
didn't see that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, and I kind of it was kind of okay. John Cena proposed in the ring, even though I really wanted the Miz to win for storyline reasons.
Yeah,
because the guy they have personal lives, and it's wrestling and blah blah blah. So it was a nice moment to cliche it as a WrestleMania moment as well, stuff like that. I mean,
first time ever.
There's no way she couldn't have known, but because everyone knew.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that too. So.
And there were signs in the crowd that says "Say yes, Nikki."
But I thought it was interesting that it seemed Cena was extremely shocked that his mom was sitting in the front row. Like, he was tearing up at the beginning of the match after he walked over and
Well,
I mean,
if he's going to propose, why wouldn't he want his family there? That's why I don't understand.
I know, but he seemed extreme. He seemed surprised. Okay. He seemed surprised, and like you could see in his eyes that he was welling up. So I thought that was interesting. So, but anyway, yeah.
AJ Shane shocked, surprised. I mean, like, it shouldn't have shocked and surprised because you know what Shane can do. It's one of those things where, again, like the mixed tag match, I just wanted to see other things for AJ. But you tell any wrestler you're going to fight Shane McMahon on WrestleMania, I bet you none of them say no.
Sure.
Given his history and that he's the son of the owner and all that, none of them is saying no. Everyone probably respects Shane and the things he can do as a non-wrestler.
And the follow-up to that was pretty amazing, by the way, on SmackDown.
Yeah, that we're going to get to that.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway.
But everything else was pretty good on it. Triple H Rollins was a lot better than I expected, and then I don't get Bray Wyatt. Like, we're going to put a projector above the ring and project bugs on the canvas, and that's getting inside Randy Orton's head. Like, I just don't get the gimmick. It's lost on me.
That's I'm on both sides of this. Kudos to WWE for trying something different. That was not the right kind of different. At least they tried something different and something, out of the ordinary, something you didn't expect, but then doing it multiple times where it becomes an obvious cue and setup each time. Then, like, the first time people were like, whoa. And then after that, people were like, ugh. And like, you almost heard that in the crowd where people were just meh after the first time. Because the first time, that was interesting. It's still dumb because it's just a projector thing.
It's a projector.
Yeah.
Like, how is that getting in someone's mind? Oh, crap, you put bugs on the canvas. You got onto the ceiling and put a projector. My God, you must be amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wrestle you right now.
And you didn't do it. The production guys did it. But there's again,
it's almost as bad as he
trying
bridges.
Something different.
He can bridge, and it's supposed to be the most evil thing ever. It's a bridge.
What's that?
Like, he bridges. He does a bridge, and it's the most evil thing ever. How?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But and Austin. Steve Austin had a lot to say about that match, about both guys in that match this week, and he hit the nail on the head with a lot of stuff. But I'm not going to repeat what he said. You can go track down what he said. It wasn't a harsh critique. It was just an honest critique, and it was really good. I liked what he had to say. I'll tell you about it later. But that was definitely that was a down point for sure.
All right, let's move on to Raw here. And call-ups aside, because we're going to have our own separate section about that.
Okay.
All right. High and low of Raw post-WrestleMania for you?
I thought...
Would you like me to go first so you can think about it a little bit?
How about for the sake of dead air, let's let you go first because I have to decipher in my head what I thought was really the highest.
The highest for me, well, I'll start with the low. This way we'll always end it on the good note. The low is feeding Strowman to Lesnar, because here's a guy who's a monster. He does amazing things when you let him, instead of just beating up like three unknowns. Like, him and the Big Show put on a great match. And he's really excelling where you probably thought he would have failed when he debuted with the Wyatt family, as just being a body that's probably has got the charisma and skill of a great Khali. He's probably just stiff, can't work, and you can see the amazing things he can do. Now, you make him lose the reins. He gets into the Battle Royal, He doesn't even have his a match at WrestleMania. He gets thrown out of the Battle Royal, and now you're feeding him the Brock Lesnar on Raw.
But that wasn't what I got out of that. I got that they were going to feed him to Roman again.
It could be possible, or
he said, "When I finish with Roman,
when I finish with Roman, fine. Yeah. Maybe he beats Roman and takes on Brock." But that it left me.
Now that would be interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
It left me with the feeling that Strowman is it there to put Brock even more over. So when Roman beats Brock, it's even more of an amazing thing because who can stop this monster except for Goldberg once, you know?
Sure.
So that was that. The good part of Raw for me was a lot of good parts. I mean, again, aside from the call-ups, I really enjoyed Kurt Angle being introduced as the general manager of Raw for very good reasons. One, because I love to see a guy sweat through his suit before he even gets to the ramp.
Yeah.
And two, like all the segments he had in the back, classic Kurt Angle. And I'm looking forward to that. Like when Enzo and Cass were like, SAWFT soft.
See, now you're killing me. Now you're killing me because that's what I was debating. I'm just like, was it the announcement of Angle, or was it the segment with Enzo and Cass? Because both of those were like I'm not sure what made me more excited. That you're killing my high point. But
classic
go ahead.
Angle. That's not how you spell soft. Like,
yeah,
just
that's
great.
Not how you spell soft.
And you missed that when he was over with the Owl or pre-Owl, and that's what I'm calling it now. So you missed that.
I know why too.
You missed it because he was dead on serious Angle over there, and really didn't have much of that personality that he does on Raw on WWE programming. So there you go. And I actually really enjoyed that Cesaro and Sheamus are getting the number one contender rub as well. I just can't picture a point in time where I really despised the pairing of two people so much that annoyed me a lot, and then all of a sudden they just got on the same page and act like brothers, and I'm just like really invested in it, and like I'm a big Sheamus fan all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I never really hated Sheamus and didn't understand everybody's hate for him until I heard the CM Punk interview.
I tell you my
it's Punk.
I tell you, my Sheamus hate came from the fact that he fought Randy Orton like 47 times in a row, and I was
fair enough. But that kind of happens with everyone who fights Randy Orton over and over again. Have you noticed that?
Well,
so he doesn't really make anyone look better. He just makes himself look good. And I'm not saying that. It's just like that's how it comes. That's how everyone comes out of that looking worse, and Randy just looks as good as he always does. So,
and that's why I fear for Strowman fighting Lesnar, because what has Lesnar ever done for anybody?
Sure, good point.
Except the people that fought Lesnar did go on to win championships after Lesnar, but still, it's like whatever.
Yeah,
but what do you got for me?
I got you. But that you kind of stole my high point because the Kurt Angle stuff, like just everything, like you said, everything was great, and I liked. I think I know it's sort of tongue in cheek, but I thought it was sort of a high point how all these smarks think that they're controlling the show, and Vince and Roman are probably just Vince is probably on the microphone laughing as just laughing out of his chair.
I told my dad, I said, as much as the fans hate these guys, I bet you Roman Reigns makes top 3 in merchandise sales.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
They are actually loving this. They're laughing this, and I really enjoyed it from both perspectives.
Yeah.
One, the fans were giving it to them, and the other, like, they're in the back just like counting their money right now.
Yeah, and Roman, God, he couldn't have played it better. Could not have played it better.
He played it really well, I'll tell you.
And then just the exclamation point of, it's my yard now. And he just walks out.
And even Vince, when they were standing Roman sucks, he's like, well, that's what you think. And he kept going. Like, I'm like, that's awesome.
And he's just, and I think it's interesting how they just keep it. I don't know. We'll talk more about it offline, but it's interesting that they keep acknowledging it now. They keep acknowledging. They're not, it's not just, Corey saying, they boo who they cheer and cheer who they boo or whatever, or cheer who they should boo or whatever. It's not comments like that. It's during the pre-show for WrestleMania, they're talking about how bad is the crowd going to boo Roman Reigns. They're talking about that on the pre-show panel.
Right.
So this is WWE like running this through everyone. Hey, we get that you're booing him. We know that you're booing him. We're expecting you to boo him. So that's interesting to me. But I still don't know that means anything's going anywhere character wise. But whatever.
Quick question for you, off topic.
So yeah,
real
yeah,
quick.
go.
Chat wants to know what your favorite match of all time was if they had to watch a match on the WWE Network. And they're not doing it right now. They did it like 2 hours ago.
They asked me that?
They asked in general, if you have the WWE Network right now for a month, what was some of the better matches that they can watch? What would you pick? One match.
One match?
Yeah.
Oh man, just because I recently watched it and it kind of blew me away. CM Punk versus Chris Jericho, Payback 2013.
Okay. Foley versus Edge at whatever WrestleMania that was is probably a good match for the casual, tune in every once in a while around WrestleMania time kind of fan as well. Because it had a little bit of everything. I would think. I gave other answers. Anything to do cruiserweights, Psychosis, Jericho, Rey Mysterio, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. SmackDown here a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we get to our inevitable main topic.
All right. I want a high point first, and then you can low point, and then come back to a high point, and then I'll low point and high point, or something like that. Whatever.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, it sounds convoluted. But high point, I'm not even gonna, because you said we're gonna, move the call ups to later or whatever. But The Miz and Maurice were unbelievable. My wife
and have been.
My wife. I know, but this was like.
No, I know.
My wife was cracking up at The Miz. Like my wife, like that. Again, she just sits on the couch and plays on her phone or something like that while I'm watching wrestling. She was laughing at The Miz. She thought what he was doing was hilarious.
He added the mannerisms a couple weeks ago. Yeah, and it's gotten even better.
Yeah, I mean the run was amazing.
Yes.
The run, I'm like, oh my god, I couldn't. It was amazing. I loved it. So
everything he does has been just really good, and I kind of feel bad. I hated him so much in my life, but I fell into the trap of they want you to hate this guy, and sure enough, I hated him, and I wanted to go to the bathroom every time he was on TV because he just annoyed me, and that was his character, that was his thing, and it works, and now he's playing a more truer heel kind of fashion, pretty much ever since he exposed Renee Young and Dean Ambrose's relationship. Everything since then, and he's been good before that, but everything since then has been really good. Every promo, every fight, everything else, except for the stuff with Daniel. I guess it started with the Daniel Bryan fight on Talking Smack.
Yeah, it did.
And then, it just got better and better from there. For me, a kind of a low point here on the night, a little bit had to do with, first of all, no topic really necessary to comment on, just a statement. I never realized during the match at all that Baron Corbin, Dean Ambrose was non-title. So I missed that somewhere, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Until Baron Corbin won and no one was really over the edge about him winning the title. The inevitability, not the inevitability, but the aftershadowing, is that even a word, of the Wyatt family all being in the ring at the end, 2 versus 2. Well, one, we finally got our Eric Rowan return. Okay, that's great. And by the way, Finn Balor returned on Raw, for those who aren't really into it, don't really know. So we had a return on both sides post WrestleMania.
And that was actually good too, by the way. That was I forgot, that was actually a really high point.
I was kind of hoping for the paint entrance kind of thing, but it was all right. Bring it in for the most major of events.
They didn't have time.
No. But you're looking at, first of all, why does Eric Rowan and Luke Harper hate each other? Are we just gonna all of a sudden they just hate each other because Wyatt and Harper are on the outs and Roman Reigns? It's logical that Rowan's still supporting Bray and Harper wants nothing to do with it and hates everything. But why do they hate each other? And why does Randy Orton and Harper don't hate each other? Like, what is going on with this group of wrestlers that makes sense? And it doesn't make sense to the point where I can nitpick anything and argue about it. Like, why is Bray Wyatt and Harper wearing the same colors? Same color shirts. Wyatt wore a different color shirt when he was with... I mean, Harper wore a different color shirt when he was with Wyatt. Now he's estranged from him, and now they're dressing the same. See what I mean? I can pick anything out.
It's like everyone in that match was wearing black.
Except Randy Orton. He was wearing no shirt. Actually, the Harper looks like...
Black trunks, black
yeah.
black boots. Sorry, I couldn't get it out.
But it doesn't make sense. All of a sudden, here's Rowan, and him and Harper hate each other now. But there's no explanation as to why. There's no run-in. There's no bumping shoulders backstage with the camera there. There's nothing to set that up. There's nothing to set up Orton and Harper being on the same page, except common enemy. But these two are the reason there's the common enemy. You know what I mean? Orton caused Harper to kind of turn on Wyatt.
Sure.
I hate it. It doesn't make sense. It needs to either just be retconned, and all of a sudden one day they're all together with no explanation why, and we'll just move on from there, or it needs to just go away and people need to separate, or it just needs to be, you need to put Corbin in the Wyatt family, you need to put Naomi in the Wyatt family, or anybody who fits that build, and have a tag team, women's, and main roster guy all in one stable.
Yeah, I like it. I think I'm hoping that a big part of this story is getting Harper out on his... I mean, Harper is basically on his own now, but as long as he's still in matches with the Wyatts, he's still somehow... there's still the idea of, oh, well, when's he going back? Well, just get him out of that picture. Move him into the Intercontinental Champion. And maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're going to put it on Corbin, and then Harper is going to start moving into that slot to be the baby face of that, which could be good.
Have we ever
seen really, really crazy good?
Have we ever seen Corbin Harper? That's probably one of the reasons why I'd be into it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And I think Harper, he's looking he looks so much better these days. And it could just be the gear he's wearing. I don't know. He just looks, I don't know. He looks more ripped to me. But
I always thought he was a good looking guy myself.
yeah, I got it. I get it. Big beard. Yeah, I get it. But I don't know. Maybe that's where we're going. And so hopefully that means we don't see him around the Wyatt family for a while. And he'll just kind of do his own thing, moving toward the IC title, and then we can see if he can move up from there, hopefully this time, instead of, just disappearing into wherever. But
they
anyway.
Have to do something with the Wyatt family because they've brought them together again. There was that little point in time where maybe it was done and Bray's going to be on his own, but then when Eric Rowan comes back, you immediately put him right back with Bray Wyatt. You start to turning off the lights nonsense. And, hey, maybe Rowan's going to be pissed because Bray Wyatt left him alone in the ring and escaped the RKO, and then there will be no Wyatt family. But then again, wouldn't that be too soon again for the breakup as well? But who knows? Was that your low?
Yeah, I didn't like any of that trash. I really want Harper separated from it, and it's not. I want Bray out on his own because it's getting to a point where I don't know that Bray can do anything on his own. I haven't seen evidence that he's a, I mean, I hate to use an industry term, but that he's really a draw on his own.
Right.
Yeah, there's all the fireflies, but I mean, how everybody has a cell phone. How hard is it to turn the flashlight on?
I actually wasn't impressed with the
phone?
fireflies. I don't think it was WrestleMania, but I think it might have been the SmackDown before WrestleMania, where I'm like, barely looks like anybody has their phone up. 20 people per section, maybe.
I'm just saying that's so low effort that it's not like. It's a thing, but it's just low effort. It's like chanting. It's about as meaningful as chanting "Cena sucks" just because the guy beside you does.
And collectively, my high point would be that with Raw and SmackDown together, no after WrestleMania title changes, no one-day title holders, no flip-flop of the title, no
that's good.
Lose on WrestleMania, win on the next show. So I'm kind of happy about
I mean,
that.
there was the Corbin thing. I mean, they did the trade wins.
Well, no title involved is my point.
Well,
I
fair
don't like
enough.
to see
Yeah.
one day champions and stuff like that, or
Oh, yeah, like
things
Zack
settled
Ryder.
after the main show. Like what was the real the culmination of everything didn't end at WrestleMania after the day after, ended the day after. Well,
Sure.
that kind of sucks. Call ups though, we had a few of them. Ty Dillinger and Nakamura on SmackDown, and Revival. Actually, this can kind of fall on my downside list, and I'll let you go after this and talk about how you pictured the call ups. SmackDown felt really bullet pointy to me when it came to like
Sure.
segments in the middle. You had the Miz and Maurice do their thing, and then they were interrupted by Nakamura. And as cool
Sure.
as an opening it was, Nakamura just came to the ring, and then that was it. Commercial.
Well, and I started laughing. I said, he's not even going to do a match. He's just going to... They just spent this whole segment so he could do his entrance.
I don't even think they got a reaction shot from The Miz. I think it was like Miz's segment's over.
Right. Yeah,
Nakamura's here.
Well, I kept trying to piece together what was the purpose of that. And I really think the idea was because the last thing that Miz said before Nakamura showed up, when Miz was sort of making his exit, was John Cena's gone to Hollywood, or something to that effect, and he tried to start whatever that chant was, and I forget.
Tried to start it. Succeeded.
What? Yeah. But then the lights went out, and then Lee England Jr., who's awesome, but it almost seems like the idea was to say, hey, here's your replacement for Cena. What do you think? Like I kept thinking about it afterward, and I'm just like, that is sort of the notion they suggested was, hey, we need somebody to carry the ball, and we've got just the guy to do it. So we'll see. We'll see if they've got that kind of faith on him.
Miz is too over. How do we get him back down to where we want him? And how do you do that? Nakamura is going to be super over. So
sure,
put super over versus guy who's too over, and then let the things kind of even out a little bit, because
fair enough.
Crowd went crazy for the Miz like I've never seen before, and like it was kind of cool, but at the same time, but so SmackDown really felt bullet pointy, and the whole Kurt Hawkins thing was cool, but like if you blinked, I felt like you missed it.
Sure.
Dillinger got a match afterwards. But best of the best was the Revival, because
unbelievably
you
good.
weren't expecting them.
Right. You definitely weren't expecting them in a New Day segment, but God, I gotta think that New Day was so on board with that, and maybe even said, "Oh no, put them in the ring with us. Put them in the ring with us." You know,
well, that's huge speculation.
It's massive speculation, but you just don't realize how perfect it is until it happens. Like I never would have.
They knocked over the ice cream cart. I don't think people are talking about that enough.
Yeah, well,
that's heel.
Apparently, Scott Dawson had shirts made for he and his daughter, and it says, and they're Rip ice cream cart shirts. He put it on Instagram. It's fantastic.
When they came to the ring and then knocked over the ice cream cart, I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've seen in a while.
But yeah, then they had their match. But again, what I was saying was, yeah, and then did the leg break spot on Kofi, who's going to be the most beloved. No matter how much everybody loves Big E shaking his hips, or Xavier on the trombone, Kofi is always the anchor of the group. He's Pops. And you just did the leg breaker on Pops, so that's a big deal. That's real heat. But
your favorite of the three?
Of the three call-ups?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely the Revival, hands down, no questions.
And just because of the spot they put him in, or because?
Well, again, it was the shocking.
Yeah.
The surprise of it all, but again, my surprise was more, wow, this is such a perfect pairing of these two groups. Like, they're so polar opposite. They're so unbelievably polar opposite that it gets the Revival over even more, because they're killing the party. It's fantastic.
And
they
they put it after the tag team title rematch. Not directly after, but it was after. Actually,
sure.
But before Enzo and Cass and Sheamus Cesaro. I don't know if they've even announced that match was even existed before the Revival came out. So when you're seeing that they're calling out a team, and your mind goes to, oh, it's probably going to be Sheamus Cesaro or Enzo Cass, like especially Enzo, like you can picture the music and him coming down with the microphone and talking trash on the way down. It definitely happened after because Kurt Angle made the match. Yeah. So and then say and it happened. But let's parlay this into the topic of the week here, really quick with the little bit of time we have left. I look forward to the shakeup myself. There are certain things I would and would not want to see, and the Shane McMahon AJ Styles segment in the ring makes me want AJ not to go after all that. Whereas a storyline where they hated each other and AJ walking out would have dictated like, okay, that's kind of cool. But now that they have that respect thing going, the handshake and everything, I kind of don't want to see AJ go. I want him to be the SmackDown guy, as he referred to himself in the promo. Give me one thing you'd like to see shaken up, and maybe one thing that you want to see stay the same, whether it's a wrestler, a tag team, or like a tag title holder, because we know they've done that in the past, swapping champions.
I really want to see something change in the dynamic of the women, since they're not going to put them on one show or the other. Well, especially now that there's two titles. So I don't really know exactly what I want to see, but I think the rumor has been that Charlotte is going to SmackDown, and maybe maybe Alexa Bliss is swapping with her.
Okay.
Is the rumor. I don't know where I heard that, but I don't know if I like that, but it would change the dynamic of things a lot.
And you stop getting Charlotte versus Bayley, Charlotte versus Sasha.
Yeah, you stop. Yeah, and you get Charlotte versus everybody on the SmackDown roster, which, I mean, that's fine. We haven't seen a lot of that besides Becky, so that's okay. Charlotte versus Naomi could be interesting. I think they could both teach each other a lot of things. So that could be interesting, and one of the most brilliant things that we get out of that is the back down spot from Alexa Bliss when she thinks she's going to do Twisted Bliss on Nia Jax. We get to see that on the main roster, which I really want to see again, because that was maybe one of the funniest things I've ever seen in wrestling.
That brings up a bad side to that, because then Alexa Bliss might just become fodder for Nia Jax week in, week out on house shows.
It's true. True enough.
Small versus large kind of thing going on.
True enough.
All right, so that's what you want to see.
I want to see some shakeup with the women. What I don't want to see is, man, what do I not want to see? I don't want to see, and I don't know who this would necessarily be. I don't want to see someone come from Raw, and even if they're one of the top guys on Raw, I don't want them to come from Raw and then all of a sudden they're a top guy on SmackDown.
Roman Reigns gets drafted over, and next thing he does is he challenges Randy Orton, and they're immediately in the match for their next pay-per-view, which I find odd. The pay-per-views went Raw, Collective, Raw.
Right.
Kind of weird, but
when the big ones just kind of put over Raw more than anything.
Yeah.
So, I just don't want, like, Rollins. I mean, really either direction, but it's more I don't want to see someone from Raw come over and just be like, yeah, Raw's the bigger show, so I'm the bigger star. Like I don't want that message.
I've been relegated to the minor leagues kind of thing, and he plays like the Harlem Globetrotters versus the Generals, and beats everybody kind of thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, kind of fitting analogy, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
For something to be like, this is the real show, this is the B show, and we're going to treat every wrestler on the B show by having the guy who moved over just dominate them.
Yeah, I really don't want to see that. I don't care who it is. I don't want to see that.
That's fair enough. My I don't want to see is I don't want to see title holder swaps. I don't want to see Randy Orton go to Raw in exchange for God, I don't even know who has the title. Oh, Brock Lesnar. So
Brock
that's not going
Lesnar.
to happen.
Yeah,
But
it's not happening.
yeah, I don't want to see. On the same note, I don't want to see Kevin Owens take the U.S. title at SmackDown while Dean Ambrose gets to Raw with his Intercontinental title. I don't want to see tag team. You know what I mean. I just don't want to see any respective
Which tag teams
holders.
is not happening, and women, it's not happening. So
How about? And we don't have to talk about this. We're just throwing it out there. Hold on one second. Oh, you talk. Hold on.
yeah, I don't know what Larry was gonna say. I have no idea what Larry was gonna say, but I'm definitely interested. But yeah, man, yeah, the title holder swapping, that is like, the more I think about it, the more that's annoying me. So I really, 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 really don't want to see that. But yeah, I don't know. Larry left me hanging. One of the things that is man, I'm totally lost without Larry. What do I do? I can normally talk about stuff like just nonstop, but he cliffhangered me so bad. But I don't know. We made mention of this earlier, so I guess I'll bring it up now, and maybe Larry can jump in when he makes it back. But if NXT is involved in this shakeup, because they haven't said the Raw SmackDown Superstar shakeup, they've just said Superstar shakeup. So if NXT is involved, I think it'd be interesting to see someone well established get moved down to NXT. And one of the things, I think it probably was Meltzer that said this week, Dolph Ziggler would be a good candidate for something like that. And it wasn't like he had heard that was going to happen or anything, but he just thinks that would be a great place for someone like Dolph, who has gone flat for a lot of people, to just sort of go be the boss and be the guy that is sort of rebuilding in amongst all of these rookies. So
Filibustering over?
Yeah, sort of. I stumbled for a little bit, and then I came back to the whole what if NXT is involved. And
yes, did you share what you know? Because I don't know anything.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't really know anything.
Okay, because I heard it was Raw SmackDown exclusive Superstar Shakeup.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. I had not heard that.
That's how WWE worded it. That's not a rumor or anything. They specifically mentioned both brands.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, which made me think there are no additional call-ups or anything.
Okay.
I wanted to say something real quick, and then we could wrap it up.
Sure.
About
there was one other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good and bad about what we want to see, what we don't want to see. Again, I don't want to see titles changing hands for the sake of swapping champions. What I do want to see are more unique matchups, and with the women, you brought that up, just by moving Charlotte to another show or Sasha to another show.
Yeah.
Actually, more so moving Charlotte, because then there's so many more unique combinations you can make wrestling-wise. I want to see an opportunity, an avenue for other things to be done with the mid-carders. And Ambrose and Kevin Owens shouldn't be the guys holding those titles. They're already established. Not to say that we can't work them in, but, Kevin Owens can't be fighting Roman Reigns and Jericho and all that for the U.S. title when there's a Sami Zayn or a, Apollo Crews on the other side. And I know that SmackDown, Ambrose versus Corbin is the point of what I'm trying to make. You have a newer, younger guy kind of fighting. Ambrose is a former heavyweight champion, and again, not to say that former heavyweight champions can't hold the title. There are guys that need to be fighting for these titles because you need these guys to be somebody in the near future.
No, yeah, I agree.
I need to see that. I need to see this shakeup happen where you don't want the guy from Raw coming over and challenging right for the title, right to the spot. Well, if that guy coming over from Raw is Sami Zayn and he goes right after Dean Ambrose, then I'm for that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
He's not going to put the whole spin on it like you're the B show, whatever. He'll have a more respectful approach to it. But in terms of, that's what I want. I want Apollo Crews to go to Raw and immediately getting Kevin Owens' face, saying, if I need to be the guy, I need to start at this title.
Sure.
And there you go.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay. So, I would actually, I think that could be an interesting matchup too. So
why not? I mean, one guy's athletic and one guy's really good at everything he does, and it doesn't look like he can be. So
I like the idea of that. So, but I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We went a little long this week, but thank you for sticking with us. And Larry, you got anything else?
I really don't know.
Okay. So with that, Steve Blackman, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. Later.